In today's video, we need to once again track these upcoming severe weather and potentially tornado outbreaks that are upcoming. And really, we're getting very close, as tomorrow seems to be a very big day, as we've sort of had a low move in from the northwest into eastern Colorado as of kind of yesterday. And then now we're moving into Kansas with it here, as you can see, 997. And this thing is just going to rapidly intensify here even just through the day today. So by the time we're taking a look at the afternoon, probably when you're watching this video, it'll be located here in eastern Kansas, and we're going to see a lot of this energy kind of trickle back actually towards this low near Utah, and this is going to be our primary low. So sometimes you see this where you see an advancement of low but it never catches on, and then we see this really big one already stronger, 987 by the time it's in eastern Colorado. And this is going to be happening overnight tonight, this kind of transfer of energy or the movement of the low backwards. Basically heavy snowfall here for Utah, Wyoming, portions of Colorado, even South Dakota and Nebraska up there with this low, as it's going to be a major blizzard and a major severe weather causer really. And we see by the time it's in between Kansas and Nebraska here, it's a 984 millibar low pressure center, bringing a major blizzard through this corridor right here. Very windy conditions associated with this, but not only that, very heavy snowfall. A warm front has already sort of developed, taking place and really causing this surging warm air for the day on Tuesday, the 4th of April here. But really that cold front doesn't become a factor until we're reaching approximately Wednesday morning time frame here. This is going to be right around the 5th here. And then what we can see happening basically is this extension, this cold front stretching down this warm front up above. That is the dynamic that causes severe weather, because we're seeing the warm air surging northward right out in front of this cold front. And as the winds from this cold front move in, they're going to barrel over this warm sector moving northward, and you can imagine that that is going to cause rotation on a horizontal axis basically, and then any downdraft from a strong thunderstorm, which there does appear to be a very strong chance of here, that would cause tornadic activity. So that is why these are the building blocks, the ingredients required for that type of severe weather and tornadic activity. We can see the jet stream doing this right here. So when you see this intense S curve, that's very indicative of a very strong low being in that area, and sure enough, that is what is in this area. We are watching something like this for the primary threat of severe weather. We'll take a look at the Storm Prediction Center at the very end of this video like we've been doing, and we'll deep dive into all of those outlooks here. We'll zoom in with you guys and just take a look at the different areas to watch. But for now, the dates to watch for this one are going to be starting out on Tuesday, overnight into Wednesday, and then through the day on Wednesday as well. There is some severe weather threat as well, in my opinion here, even in through the evening, and potentially all the way into Thursday evening into Friday for the southeast. So we'll be watching that very closely. Primarily Thursday into Wednesday, let's say the morning hour, we could have some thunderstorm activity up here in the northeast in Ohio Valley. Again, we saw that yesterday in the extended outlook, so we'll take a look at that one as well. But for now, my main concern here is going to be the Ohio Valley and kind of your Mississippi River area here. So just like kind of what we saw recently, that is the area to watch there. Eastern Iowa into Illinois as well seems to be particularly the area that these models are projecting the worst of the conditions. And that could happen overnight Wednesday into Thursday, but also round 2 there actually through the day on Wednesday for areas further east. Again, we'll take a look at the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center at the end of the video, so don't miss that because that's going to be really crucial information. After this storm, we do get into a bit of a different pattern. We kind of have a big ridge out west, and what this usually causes is no big storm systems to move on shore here. In matter of fact, we might see more moving through these northern territories, which could cause some cold fronts underneath, which could bring some more from the north threats, but usually these aren't associated with quite as much moisture. That seems to be a very strong cold front here by the time we're reaching the 10th that this European model is showing. And we can see an interesting factor is that there's a nor'easter also moving up the east coast. So when those two interact, it is going to be interesting to see what kind of impacts that could bring. But for now, it does appear like some thunderstorm activity along this pocket here in the eastern United States could be possible along that cold front, but this is in the very extended range, so we're going to need to watch it very closely. Here at the end of the model run on the 13th, we can see the beginning signs of perhaps some colder air moving back into the east. We'll need to watch for that very closely. Certainly something to watch here. And then we have this big time ridge taking place across the central United States with a more kind of cutoff trough happening there in the east. Very interesting pattern to close things out. But the good news is that after this severe weather outbreak, it does appear like there will be a break from the severe weather, which would be extremely warmly welcomed, I would say. Now, the total precipitation here, as you can see, we have anywhere from the northwest here seeing plenty of that precipitation here as we see multiple storms move through not only this area towards the end of the model run, but also the big storm that moves through like this. And then also we start to see that nor'easter activity here alongside also those cold fronts that bring thunderstorms. So very high amounts there in the southeast and deeper south there. The Gulf states in general is experiencing probably the most out of anywhere in the United States here so far on this model run. Then we can see the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast seeing quite a bit as well. So overall, all around, a very interesting pattern and setup here. The total snowfall tells the full story. Obviously, the mountainous west is going to be seeing plenty of snowfall like they have all fall, winter time, and spring. But we are going to be seeing particularly a large blizzard here from Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, up through the upper Midwest and northern plains, bringing 1 to 3 feet of snowfall. Certainly going to be an extreme snowfall event, to say the least. The temperature pattern here, as you can see, we're just going to take the average of this and just roll through with it. We see a warm period here through midweek all the way towards the weekend, but then some colder air does move in for the east. And what we end up seeing also is a bit of a ridge developing here. It's not quite looking that way yet, but there is going to be some warmer air than what we've been seeing there. As you can see, extremely cold air has been the trend. But we're going to see a warm up towards more average conditions and eventually potentially above average conditions. So this could be a 10, 20, 30 degree temperature swing depending on your location. And then we see a lot of cold able to make its way in for the kind of second week into the third week of April timeframe. But once we reach towards the 15th and beyond, this model certainly says, hey, we're going to definitely switch back into the pattern that we've been seeing for a little while here, which would be primarily warmth in the east and primarily cold in the west. The only unfortunate thing about this, because I know everybody wants to have that kind of warm springtime weather at this point, is that this setup is absolutely perfect for those cold front, warm front dynamic storms to set up once more and bring severe weather there to the middle states. And we need to watch this closely because this model is indicating we're going to be moving back into that type of a pattern again beyond the 15th of April there, and all the way at least towards the 18th here that we're taking a look at. This model says we're going to be moving right back into that pattern, which would mean potential severe weather outbreaks once again taking place. Now, what we're going to do is move on and take a look at all of those Storm Prediction Center outlooks here for you guys. Now, here is the, let me see, I always do this unprepared here. This is the day 2 outlook. This is going to actually be here for the 5th, the 4th into the 5th. So actually tomorrow, Tuesday, but this is primarily going to be an overnight threat, I believe, here, but through the day and through the night tomorrow, we're going to be watching this because this extends all the way towards about 8 a.m. on the 5th, this outlook. So this gets us all the way through the overnight hour. As we can see, we have these lighter green areas here for a lot of these outlier states, and that's where we expect general thunderstorms. Nothing can ever be ruled out, but we don't expect severe weather necessarily in those areas. You're still going to want to pay attention because any thunderstorm can be dangerous. We all know this. The darker green areas here is going to be your marginal risk areas. We see Memphis in there. We see Milwaukee and Madison in there as well. These are some bigger areas, Dallas as well, in this marginal risk area. That is where we expect isolated severe weather to occur there. The yellow area here includes Chicago, Tulsa, Topeka, Kansas City, St. Louis. We see also Tulsa. I don't know if I said that yet. I probably did. We see a scattered risk or a slight risk of severe weather, and this is where we expect scattered severe weather to occur in there. So we start to get a little bit more widespread, but not necessarily legitimately widespread yet. And then we have our 2 orange areas. These are our enhanced risk areas, and this is where we expect more widespread severe weather to begin occurring. This includes Des Moines, Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Little Rock there. So, and then Texarkana, we expect some of our bigger areas in these 2 separate areas. It looks very familiar because we just had a threat with 2 enhanced risk areas separated. Very interesting stuff. And again, all of these areas in the orange, a little bit of some widespread severe weather potentially occurring, but it's mostly this red area that we're watching. We see Waterloo down through Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Davenport there, Burlington. We see Hannibal, Canton, Macomb, Galesburg. We see all of these areas throughout northwestern Illinois, northeastern Missouri, and southeastern Iowa included in this moderate risk level 4 of severe weather. And I know we just had one of these, so it probably seems like a common occurrence, but in reality, we don't see very many of these moderate risks per year. These are extremely high level events, and the only level above it is the level 5 high risk, and we don't even see one of those, annually. There is some years where we don't see that at all. There's some years where we see it a couple of times, but this is extremely high level, and there's only one level above it, and that level is very rarely used for the worst of the severe weather events. So this should not be taken lightly. I know moderate seems like a medium risk, somewhere in the middle, but it is at the very upper end of severe weather events. So I want you to keep that in mind for sure. I always remind people of that because I think it's a little misleading, the name. And then again, Little Rock, Fort Smith, Texarkana, Paris, Pine Bluff, Jonesboro, Fayetteville there in Arkansas here, all included in this enhanced risk. Now, the day after this, here on day 3, we do have a little bit of a risk here as well for the Ohio Valley, Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania. That is going to be a slight risk as of now of severe weather. So we're going to be watching that one very closely as well. That is, again, going to be scattered severe weather expected. And then I want to see if there's anything in the extended range here. I forget if we have anything going on. Let's see. Okay, so the good news is that days 4 through 8, there is nothing popping up right now. So that's extremely good news. And after this big event is done with, we should have a little bit of a break, like I said, which again is extremely good news. So we're watching from the night of the 4th all the way into the morning of the 6th, which is when that other outlook ends, the one for the Ohio Valley. So we'll be watching this very, very closely with you guys, taking a look daily. So be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.